If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. It is October the 12th, 2022, and today the topic is Cornelius and Peter. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. Yesterday was like a day of rest for me. I got some good rest in between my meetings and whatnot that happened yesterday. Got everything done that I had intended to do yesterday, so to God be the glory for that. If I give y'all like a little sneak peek, I had like a midday meeting with this lady that I guess is going to start helping me with the business plan. Then the next main thing was doing financial fitness around 7, which was again very, very eye-opening. Has me already reevaluating different things that I want to do financially. And has anybody else heard of this 10-10-80 rule and things like that? If not, y'all should look it up because it's very interesting. And I think I'm going to start implementing that from here on out in my life with my income and everything like that. And see what the Lord do with it. So that's something as well. And then I started working on that new project last night. We got some of our first footage of the new concept. I guess I'll share it with you guys at some point. I'll share it with you all at some point. But let's get into this chat about Cornelius and Peter, because that's what I ended up studying this morning. Long story short, I did my prayer meditation. Don't really remember much about it, but I think after I did prayer meditation, there was a phrase that came into my heart and mind. I think it was what was it? It was either something about like in God's presence or something like that. So I started looking up verses centered around that, and then ultimately it made me start thinking about like doing things God's way and things like that. And ultimately, I came across a verse that was talking about Cornelius, and so I ended up reading the entire Acts 10. So that's the Go Deeper section for today, the entire Acts 10. And I just felt led to just write down the verses that stood out to me. And so that's what I have. That's what I have to share this morning. So these are the verses that stood out to me as I was reading Acts 10, all about Cornelius and Peter. So here we go. Acts 10:2 says, a devout man and one who feared God with all his house gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. I did look up the definition of devout, so if that's something you need to do, by all means, do that. It pretty much means somebody that's committed in X, Y, and Z. So to me, I guess this stood out as being committed to God, praying always also stood out as well. And because he feared God, this affected his entire household as well. So that's what pretty much stood out to me as I read that verse this morning. And let's keep going. Acts 10:8, it says, and when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. So basically, if you read this entire account, then you'll see that basically while he was in prayer, one of God's angels came to him and gave him some information saying, hey, go look for this man named Peter in Joppa, X, Y, and Z. And it seems like, Cornelius got on that immediately. He, I want to say, from what I'm understanding, the very next day sent, the people out to find Peter. Um, so I guess this stood out to me this morning because it's showing me that, sometimes we need to make haste, with whatever the Lord is telling us to do. Like, don't dilly dally X, Y, and Z. Just get on it. That's what I'm seeing here today. Acts 10:15 stood out, and it says, "And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common." Now, so this is on the other side of the coin, right? So Peter is, before the Lord, and God gives him a vision 3 times about this quote unquote unclean food, and in that verse that stood out to me this morning, the Lord is telling him not to call something unclean that He calls clean, um, and everything like that that God calls clean. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I think, one thing that also stood out to me as I was reading this is that, again, how intricately God is, right? And how, like, He was dealing with one person over here saying, hey, go find Peter. And then He's dealing with Peter over here, like, hey, get ready for this. He don't know what it is, but He's like, get ready for these people that I'm sending to you. He had to get Peter's mind right to receive them, right? And it's just, again, it's beautiful to see, like, again, the big picture unfolding, because we only have part of the vision, right? It's like part of the puzzle, and whatnot. But then when we get with others, the pictures start to just come together beautifully. I'm thinking about the project that I'm working on, and how beautifully it seems to be coming together, and like how the different people are coming in place that can, assist with this and stuff. And I mean, I don't know, like I know I've been joking, especially since the pandemic or whatnot, that I feel like, I'm the plug sometimes, where it's like, I'm constantly either tagging people in information that I see, or um not to say I always have the answers or something like that, but every now and then, like, yeah, basically it's like, I guess I'll say it's like, it seems like I know people, or I know something to find whatever might be people might be seeking, if that makes any sense. Like, if someone comes talk to me about X, Y, and Z, I might know ABC, and I'm like, oh, this person X, Y, and Z does this, or and I don't know, and so in some ways that gift, right, is coming together in regards to this particular project that I am working on right now, but just in life in general. So again, we have something that other people might need, right? And so, we just got to be willing to, walk according to the call, and do what it is that God is telling us to do, as well as say whatever God is telling us to say. I know we've been going over that over the past few days, but yeah, I'm just reminded of that in this moment, because again, He was dealing with Cornelius on one end, and He was dealing with Peter on the other end, and getting those two to come together to receive what the other had, right? What Peter received, as I was reading, studying this morning, Peter, his mind renewed, and his eyes was open to see that, hey, God is no respecter of persons. Like, you know, um, these quote unquote Gentiles can receive what you all have received. So that was like revelation, or maybe, I don't know, revolutionary in his mind at the time. And then, Cornelius, on the other hand, needed what Peter knew in regards to the gospel message and everything like that. And they ultimately, him and his household, received the Holy Spirit and stuff. So it's just, again, very interesting and beautiful to see, like, how we all might have something the other needs, or something like that, or we all may be a part of this big picture, or this puzzle that God is putting together. But anyway, let me tell you guys another verse that stood out to me. Acts 10:20. It says, "Arise therefore and get thee down, and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them." So again, this is God talking to Peter, or the Holy Spirit speaking to Peter, letting him know that, hey, don't doubt, just go with them. I sent them, X, Y, and Z. Every now and then, again, once we get that confirmation, it's good. Just like we talked about with Cornelius earlier, he didn't dilly dally. He was like, he went on ahead and sent the man to go get Peter. And same here. Peter didn't dilly-dally. He didn't be like, well, Lord, hold on, because he just was like, all right, he already confirmed that he sent these men. I'm going to go with him. And yeah, so then Acts 10 and 26 stood out to me this morning. It says, but Peter took him up, saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. So I don't know what it is, but this really stands out to me when it comes to like people that are like proclaiming to be God's people, right? Whether it's ministers or and definitely with angels, right? It just was a common theme that they all like always pointed to the God. They always, it was never like about themselves. Like the angels never allowed the people to worship them. Same for, true men of God. They never was like, yes, 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 bow down to me. You know what I mean? They always seemed to point to the Lord and always was clear on being like, hey, 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 don't, you know what I mean? Don't worship me. I'm just a man, X, Y, and Z. I don't know. Not trying to call nobody out, but I'm just saying, if our spiritual leaders ain't like that, then, we might need some new spiritual leaders. I'll just put it like that. I mean, without calling anybody's ministry out. I mean, I don't know everybody to know what they're doing. I know I have seen, I mean, y'all probably have seen some of these social media pastors. I know there was one that I guess maybe went viral for what he was preaching at his congregation about, not getting him some particular type of gift or something. I don't know if y'all saw that or whatever a few months ago. Yeah, the interesting thing is, if I do speak on that for a moment, if I think about like what I observed yesterday, one of the main things that stood out in financial fitness in the video that we ended up watching was the pastor told his congregation that him and his wife have been living on his savings for the past 10 years. So he wasn't taking a salary at the church. Matter of fact, whatever salary that they gave, he gave back into the church. Him and his wife was living off of his salary, or excuse me, off his savings that he had been saving since 17 or whatever the case is. That blew my mind because I'm over here like, man, like to get to that type of point where we're just living off of, savings and not like so bogged down by, money and what we're making. And, that, I don't know if there's a whole lot of people that's living like that. But I just know for me, that was just very eye opening and very like, and not only was he, sharing that testimony, but he was teaching his congregation how to do the same. So yeah, I guess if I think about that minister that I just was talking about, that went viral a couple of months ago, calling his congregation poor and all the things that person was saying, it's like, why aren't you teaching your people like this other minister here? How to, you know, live off their savings for the rest of their life and things like that. Teach people, the godly principles of how to handle money and everything like that. It's just very interesting. Just very interesting. I don't know. I'm just reminded of that in this moment. um, but yeah, just very something to think about. Something to think about when you're following somebody, right? Or if you're, you know, looking for leadership and whatnot. I'm just saying, true men of God, from what I'm seeing biblically, they always point to God. So anywho, basically, yeah, that's pretty much the main verses that stood out to me this morning. Obviously, the whole account was good, so that is the Go Deeper section. You guys can read and go deeper about the whole account about Cornelius and Peter. But as I was writing these verses down this morning, there was a quote that I came across last night that came back to my mind, and so I wrote it down to share with you all this morning. And it says, somewhere out there, people are watching you and wanting what you have. You have God, make them want God. At the end of the day, yeah, I think that's the main point of all of this. That's the juice this morning. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Again, feel free to go deeper about Cornelius and Peter. Again, the whole account and everything was very good to reflect on. But the Bible verse of today is Luke 12 and 40. It says, be ye therefore ready. Also, the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. Friends, I hope y'all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.